Hey, welcome to the CSC stream. We got a good matchup tonight of the Owls versus Shogun in Premier. We got our host Rubaiyat here, along with
Hello.
me, Mr. Cool, and production by Nico. Should be a pretty good pretty good match tonight. Two teams looking pretty neck and neck in the stat lines. We got Shogun coming in at 4-6, I believe, and or no 5-5, excuse me, and Owls coming in at 6-4. Both stat lines looking pretty similar. And yeah, looks like it's going to be a good match tonight.
Yeah,
First ban has come in with Shogun banning Nuke.
you hate to see the nuke ban truly in the year 2025. That's not something that I respect, to
Honestly,
be completely
especially,
honest.
especially with Train in the map pool right now. I'd
Yeah,
much
true.
rather see that Nuke played, but Shogun did lose, I believe, match day 3 against Owls, 6-13. So that's probably why we're seeing that ban come in first here from Shogun.
Huh. Okay. All right. Well, per match support, it looks like we're getting lobby errors across the board right now. So, while I'm casting, I'm gonna be fixing all of these match lobbies. So you're gonna have to give me just one moment.
Hey, it's all good. We got a little bit to talk
Never a
about.
dull moment in CSC, I'm sure. Yeah, you can. Okay, I can.
Yeah, so over on the Shogun side, we got two standout players. Scott sitting at a 1.19 right now, leading the pack for Shogun, followed up by Catalyst at a 106. Those are two players to watch out for on the Shogun side. They've been having great seasons the entire way through so far. And then over on Owls, we got two players again who are somewhat standout from the pack. We got Traditions and Tarquins. Tarquins sitting at a 1.11 and Traditions with a 1.04. Both these teams have faced a little bit of adversity throughout the season, but they've kept it in there. And, I think it really should be a good match tonight, especially with the map pools both these teams are playing. It looks like Owls are going to be favoring a little bit more towards Inferno, which I assume we would see as a third ban if they don't pick it first. And I believe Shogun has been favoring heavily towards Anubis this season. So I would be surprised if we don't see an Anubis ban coming off the bat from Owls.
It's crazy. Oh Lord. Okay, I'm going through and deleting all the lobbies right now. So momentarily, hopefully, fingers crossed, we should have fixed lobbies. Um,
CSC a little bit scuffed as usual, but that's pretty on brand for us.
all right. Sav versus DRG has been reset, so B stream should hopefully be up with some degree of speed.
We
I have
do
to.
also have a B stream and C stream going on tonight, so they'll be great to check out if this one only goes to two maps. I believe right now we have on the B stream we have a challenger playoff, Sav versus DRG, Leopards versus Drakes, and on the C stream we got Mercenaries versus Imposters. That's HG versus UPS.
All right. Well, it seems that we are continuing to have issues with these match lobbies, despite the fact that I've reset them.
Yeah, I'm pulling up some stats right now. Yeah, and again, it looks like it should be a pretty close match right now. We got a +7 round differential on Owls and a -5 on OS, or for Shogun. But overall, across the board, both teams looking very balanced, very even. Owls a little bit favored on the CT side, with Shogun favored a little bit heavier on the T side. So I'm hoping we're going to see an absolute slugfest tonight. I think there's a good chance we see three maps out of this.
One would hope. All right, I'm live hot fixing the matches as we speak because the first fix did not work. So maybe the second fix will. All right.
Hey, if it doesn't, third time's the charm.
All right, you're gonna be my live rememberer today, right now, Mr. Cool, because I am, as we speak, currently remaking the match lobbies in their entirety. So don't let me forget leopards versus drakes for one of the matches.
All right.
Okay. So leopards versus drakes. This is a BO3, and match day is. Do I even care? Does the match day need to get set? This is lovely, truly, that I have to be responsible for both casting and doing match support live.
Hey, you're doing your
Uh,
best Bill O'Reilly right now. You're doing it live.
I am doing it live, quite literally. Okay, save. Um, all right, time for me to go to our data host console to see if there are servers that are being occupied right now. Let's try Paracord. Paracord is occupied right now. What about op? What about op? All right, cool. Op is not occupied. Let's create a server under the name op.
Question coming in. By the way, casters, I put myself live on stream. Hello. Uh, yeah, the good old CS updates. Am I right, people?
Yeah.
We do love our good CS updates that just break everything.
Hey, it might ruin CSC, but some of those new skins are looking pretty nice.
Yeah, big money, big money.
Hey, we got a Tech 9 whiteout, bro. That's going to be a clean skin in CS too.
Working to make this go live. We hope we don't have to cancel anything.
I'm fighting for my damn life right now.
Fight even better. Fight harder.
Trying. Doing the best that I possibly can.
Well, since we got production live, Nico, you got any thoughts on this matchup tonight? Any standout players you'd like to give a shout out
I
to?
mean, I won't lie. I'm an observer. I don't really watch the other matches of CSC. But um, I really think it's gonna be a close matchup too. This could go to map 3. As an observer, I would like it to go to map 3. That makes me more work, and I'm always happy to do more observing.
All right, we all love a good three-match series.
I know.
I think
I think I speak for a couple of observers that say that some of them are like, 2 maps is enough. No, I like going third map. I really like it.
and I think there is a good chance that we'll see Inferno as a decider because both teams have had some wins and some losses on it. Or no, excuse me, Shogun has had a loss on it, but it was a pretty close game, 9-13. And then we got Owls coming in with 4 games overall on Inferno, but still they're 2-2 on the map, but with a 49% round win percentage. So it looks like a map they're comfortable playing, but not a map they're extremely strong on.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm still worried about the Inferno just because with the small update that got it today. Maybe some players will be like, not sure. Let's not try it.
That is true. We might see some utility change coming in on the banana side because I believe they did widen banana a little bit.
To read the patch note, because we have time, the changes they have done to Inferno is adjusted the banana to more closely match the size of CSGO, which is a good change. It was, in my opinion, I don't know. I like the CSGO better.
Yeah, I think most people would agree with you there. I think we all have some CSGO nostalgia.
Yes. They've simplified the background behind T ramp and bomb site B, so it's a little less using. They simplified the view into pit, which is always good. They removed 2 pixel gaps. Woohoo! Pixel gaps, we love them. And they adjusted some of the props. So they adjusted the crates, steps up to balcony. They adjusted or removed props a bit everywhere in the map. So if we get Inferno, we'll see that. They adjusted player and grenade collisions throughout the map. So yay, we love collision fixes. Let's hope the map isn't broken.
Yeah, well, we can only hope, right? With CS2, we've seen a couple of updates that claim to do some things, subtick, but
Exactly.
don't really fix too much.
No, this times they don't. I still remember the ragdoll update. That was a good one. That was a funny one.
Sometimes CS does add a little bit of in-flight entertainment, but over here for the
I am happy to report that match lobbies should hopefully start to work now.
I think it does. I see a second ban from on the map ban. Let's go there.
I'm interested to see what Al's band coming up here. Oh, we see a Mirage band. That's definitely not what I was expecting. Alice, they did play Mirage once, and they did lose pretty convincingly, I believe, to the UPS copy pasta. But then again, it was only an 8-13 game, or 13-8 game, excuse me, favoring copy pasta. I do believe OS has played Mirage. They're 1-1 on the map. And yeah. So I guess that band does make sense, but I definitely would have expected to see an Anubis band coming in, seeing as OS is 4-0 on the map. We
Look,
do
at
see
CSC, everybody's confident in Anubis.
that is true. That is the vanilla ice cream of CS nowadays.
Yeah, it's Anubis and Ancient, the two classics.
I do love
Absolutely.
Sub Anubis. I really do love Sub Anubis.
So we do see Shogun coming in, picking up Anubis for their first map. Al's coming in and picking up Inferno for their second. And Train banned by Shogun for their second ban. Ancient banned by the Owls. Now that's another interesting one. They are 0-1, but they did go 11-13 on that map, so not what I was expecting. So we will see D2 as the decider. I believe that's a map that both teams are 0-1 on. Or no, excuse me, Owls are 1-0 on it. OS was 0-1.
Yeah, to look at the stats, yeah, you're right. Alls has a single map game played on it, and Shogun has a single play game played on it with a 0% win rate. So.
It should be an interesting one, but the Inferno pick is definitely interesting coming in from Owls. Not what I would expect to see as their map pick.
Maybe they have something cooked up. You never know these days.
Yeah, absolutely. That new change that Nico was mentioning earlier does make me sweat a little bit for the Owls, though. See if any of that util
I was
causes a
gonna say
problem for 'em.
this is uncharted territory for CSC because these Inferno changes have been yet untested. So it will be interesting to see.
Well, if any tier is going to test the limit of CS's new changes, it will be Premier.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Highest tier of play, mind you.
God gamers, yes, see.
Absolutely. All right. I am
As
We
a
have,
re-
we
about
have a
done with
stack.
match
We have a
support.
stack from Premier that is currently qualified in ESEA Advanced. So that is
as a
True.
reminder, Rubai, Leopards versus Drakes. I'm not sure if you need that anymore.
No, that's a very good reminder. Thank you. I'm about to send the connect codes to our lovely observers on the other stream, so I'm about to get to that as we speak.
Beautiful.
If only Core's admin team wouldn't take 15 seconds to load a single page, but that's neither here nor there. It's not gonna talk about that.
If we do make it to a third map, I think D2 will definitely be an interesting map to see on this.
Oh
It's
yeah.
It's a map that Shogun didn't perform too well on, but I believe they played it relatively early in the season. Yeah, coming in on or no, never mind, relatively late in the season, match day 8, and they did play against the Owls on D2. They lost 13-6. So we'll see if Shogun cooks something up on D2 for the latter half of the season, but
All right. I'm about to send our connect code to our lovely observer, so we can hopefully get in server and get into
We
the
are
action.
already in the server for here.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I am fast. I am currently looking at a flying chicken.
Ooh. All right.
And the chicken has stopped flying. Stop flying. I am sad now.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, I did see them moonwalking, so.
It's an unfortunate world.
messed up world with messed up people.
It is a messed up world, messed up people. In the very wise words of a certain RXK nephew.
Yo.
Okay.
Currently flying over Anubis to see if I can spot if there maybe had been a small change that is not listed in patch notes. And oh, let me tell you, they did not change Anubis.
I was gonna say, I thought they only listed Train and Inferno
Yeah,
changes,
but you know, it's Valve. Sometimes they like to sneak in things in the updates without telling us.
yeah, always tweaking, never adding new maps.
But yeah, if you want, we can make a little fly around Inferno during the warm up of next game 2. See
Yeah, map
what
2.
changed.
I'm very interested to see Inferno. I was hoping to get into a little game before this to check out the Inferno changes, but just didn't have the time. That being said, it should be an exciting map. It's a map that both teams have some experience on, and both teams look like they should be relatively comfortable on.
Waiting on the players to get on that.
And if it does go that long, then we might have a forfeit win on our hands. Who knows?
See if someone starts quoting the rules.
They're fastly connecting, so I don't think we're getting a forfeit.
All
It's
right.
fine.
Well, wow. You know.
Only 20 minutes late on a match day. I'd say that's pretty good for CS timing with an update, or CSC timing with an update.
Yeah, exactly. At least the players had updated their games. I hope.
I don't think Steam would even let them watch it. All right.
I mean, I'm mostly talking about because people can have slower internet. I don't think it was that big of an.
Oh, well, I have some pretty slow internet, and that 2 GB update took me a whole 30 minutes to download. So,
Whoa.
different strokes for different folks.
The update took me 5 seconds.
God, I wish.
Love gigabyte internet.
Yeah, make sure you don't move into an apartment in a rural area.
I am in the middle of a city, so.
Well, if you're getting a little bit antsy here to see some CS action, make sure you go over to our B streams and C streams. Give them some love. We got
Well, don't
Elite
go over to
and
the B stream because I believe our B stream is down.
well, give our C stream some love then.
And if you want to just give love, well, just give love.
True. Love is love. Free love.
Absolutely, make it the 60s in here.
All right, so remind me as I'm currently editing the commands in our stream what the map picks were for this lovely
They
best of
are
3.
Anubis pick by Shogun, Inferno
Okay.
pick by the Alls, and Dust Dew is our decider.
Okay. Map 2, Inferno, which was AVI's pick. And then map 3 is Dust 2, which is the decider.
It should be a good match tonight.
Dust 2, decider. Look at that.
Only waiting on a couple players on the server. We should go live in about the next minute or two, I think.
And I will be right back because I'm going to figure out why our B stream is down.
It's not CSC without some technical issues.
Yeah. You know what? This is a great time to just put out a call out there. If you're looking to start maybe observing, we're looking for observers, to be honest. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing to get into if you really enjoy watching CS or just being involved in the CS community. And yeah, we got plenty of people here willing to teach and ready to help out if you're wanting to get into it.
I don't know what the exact way to say that you're interested. I think there's a thing somewhere. But
Yeah,
it seems that while Rubai is gone, well, you're alive.
All right, let's get into map 1.
I will help you a bit casting, I guess.
Well, I think I could take the most part of it until Rubai gets back. We'll be seeing a standard buy coming out from both teams. No real util. We got one smoke on Shogun here and 2 flashes and a smoke on Owls. Looks like we are grouping up for a B hit. Taking some quick space out on the site. Catalyst with a quick pick through the smoke. 2 players still up on B site. Rotates coming in from the CT very quickly through CT. R3D with 2 quick picks. Scott looking to get his, but can't quite connect, and Owls will take round 1.
Yeah, a slow push into A side that just works. That's always a good strategy on Anubis to just slowly go into the site and just take it over.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing some discipline from Owls. They're waiting their fights. We will be seeing a full save coming in from Shogun here. See if they get a little bit aggressive, and looks like they will group towards A here. And Owls will be walking into it. CT's creeping into main. Staggered off in groups of 2. Apathy getting a quick 2 picks to open it up. Catalyst looking for a connect. Can't quite make it. R3D and Lapuki just cleaning it up. And Alice take the conversion. Good first 2 rounds coming in from Alice here.
And we're back. Hopefully the B stream is working now. I did in fact sort out one of the issues that they were having, and we're already 2 rounds deep. That's unbelievable. How's it been, guys? How you been doing?
It's been pretty great. Owls secured a quick 2 rounds, and it looks like they are going to be bonusing into this third here.
Well, that's lovely, as we do have the instant smokes coming out from Red and Spawn here. House smoke comes down. Superman defend. Not much early here for the Shogun, though. Superman gonna try to flash through that smoke. Takes an early fight on a Tarquins. Will find it. Will he expect this duel from Traditions? No, he won't. His Traditions will trade out. Nothing to it. Mid control secured for the Owls as 2 players start to creep up towards A main. Traditions rightfully decides just to get out of dodge there and get with the A play. As Shogun, a little bit desperate to be clearing mid here, as Owls will go through A main, landed TM with the initial kill onto the first player, will find 2, gets red, and all of a sudden this A attack has been shut down for the Owls. OS looking to inch towards that all-important first gun round.
Yeah, I mean, Owls can't be too upset with that. They only fought 2 AKs into that round. But overall, great holds coming in from Shogun there.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. And heroic little 2K there from Landon to get them over the line.
Absolutely, just holding down the A site. Nobody's getting past him. We will be seeing our first 5 round come out. Apathy's left with a tech on the T side there for Owls.
Yeah, very low buy coming in here as, Galil and Tech9 in play. Although, pretty decent utility on 4 players here, so good amount to work with as, wow, a very bold face through the smoke into E-Box actually catches Catalyst off. And oh my goodness, this B side is starting to fall apart, but 1 player is still left here to defend as it seems that the Owls are looking to pivot towards mid. Cam Smoke is down, so Scott doesn't really have as much of a say in this as he would like. As it will be a little bit of a pause here as Owls are looking to get the bomb in a position. Scott just eager to defend the A site right now, not getting much pressure, but is definitely wary of this Cam's timing as AVI will just immediately go out here as Lapuki gets shut down. 2 players coming through main. Scott to defend. Gets naded out, but will find a second. As the last player of AVI, tucked behind main right now, doesn't have a whole lot to say in this round.
I mean, you can't put it past Traditions. He is one of the Owls' shining players right now.
True, but Scott will trade out, and yep, that's 2 for the Shogun. So, I mean, immediately a pretty excellent start for OS here. This is pretty much exactly what you want to see on your CT side, which is, I'm sure I don't need to remind people, notoriously one of the hardest sides to play in Counter-Strike.
Absolutely. Resetting that T eco here is a huge play for the Shogun right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Going to be a very high percentage play, hopefully, for OS. But, can't put it past AVI. They could pull off some magic here. So it looks like it will be a fast E-Box take here. Is Wisp not necessarily looking towards it. Believes in the safety of that smoke. Will tough backside as Catalyst does find 1 on the E-Box, but immediately gets traded out. A lot of pressure felt here on B as it will come down to Wisp to defend. Will find 1 up, the entering E-Box player. 3 players left as teammates are in rotation, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. But as I say that, Apathy and Red both find 2, and all of a sudden we're in a 2v2 post-plant situation. Apathy manages to get out behind the cover of default, but Red still on the block right now, so should be very much advantage OS on this retake. And Landon will find 1 player default. Red with it all to do from the E-Box position with very unenviable weaponry. They will likely just hunt him down, and yep, that's the end of that round. A pretty admirable attack there from AVI to manage to get 3 and take it into a winnable post-plant situation. But
Absolutely. On that eco, just trading out each other, getting onto site there and forcing those CTs to play back. And especially after, I think it was R3D getting that pick into Temple, turning it into a 2v2.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely great from Owls.
But back into the gun rounds here, so hopefully we'll get a little bit of a change up here from AVI that will net them an additional T round. But as I say that, OS have wanted to opt for a timeout here, which is an interesting decision when you're up 3-2, but maybe they had some things to say about that eco round that they weren't happy with.
I think they might have been trying to sort out some eco too, because I believe they did drop a rifle over to Wisp.
Ah, that would make sense, yeah, because the money with Catalyst is a little bit weird too, so...
Yep. That being said, though, I think this round should be favoring the T's a little bit, just from the overall eco. I think we see a full stack coming out from just about everyone on T side. A little bit light on the CT end here, but CTs do have an AWP on Smart as Superman.
Yep.
Let's see where they position that, but that could be huge in holding down top mid there.
For sure. Actually, it looks like we've transitioned into a tech pause here. So that might have been the
Yeah.
pause of the original pause.
Hey, when it's not the stream, it's the game.
Hey, look, I don't see anything in match support that would imply that it's our fault, so we can just sit here and...
We're back live, so...
Exactly.
Oh, I guess it was a small issue.
It's neither here nor there.
I still hear chat messages being sent, so I am not sure. But we're going live, so...
See a pretty passive default coming out from Alice here. Shogun responding in kind.
Yeah, and it looks like AVI are maybe looking to take a little bit of the pace out of things here, as not necessarily the level of aggression that they've shown in previous rounds. As probably a smart decision here. Smart as Superman posted up on the angle. A lot of info comes over here to the rest of OS, as they're not feeling any pressure from canals or water.
We are breaking main on the outside.
And just an absolutely wild peak coming out from Traditions off the rip, basically giving over the 4v5 for 3. I'm not sure what the plan was from AVI on that one, but nevertheless, advantage secured for OS as Quattro looks to make a little bit of noise in mid to divide OS's attention, but it doesn't look like it's helping necessarily, as two players of OS very much ready for this A main take.
Still holding that aggressive angle through E-Box, too.
As, double nade in comes in for Landon, already chunked down to 14 HP, and the Molly will flush him out too, will completely kill him, as Apathy finds an additional kill on the second main anchor. An additional kill coming out from Red as, wow, Red with 2 insane entries to secure a very, very favorable post plant for AVI, 3v1. Surely Superman is just going to opt to save here, as the AWP is likely more important than the very low percentage chance to win this round, but will continue to look for a little bit through that camera smoke. But
like
ultimately
he will go
decides to back off, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say other than a great entry from Red, really opening up that round, turning that 4v5 into a 3v4.
Yeah, I mean, that was really just like, fuck the percentages, let's just win the round sort of a situation here, because by all means, it should have been an OS round, given that they had 3 players tethered towards A. But no, just full execute comes out from AVI, and it's a very good execute, because it flushes out the back cake player, and they just get the kills that they need to in order to make sure that they have sight, so...
Absolutely,
well,
especially with dropping that rifle. CT Eco isn't looking too healthy. We might see a couple of MP9 drops coming out of Superman here, but other than that, I think we're going to be on a CT save. Superman electing to drop 2 deagles.
Yeah, and AVI now very much in control of this half as CT money is reset, and it's going to have to be likely the double save here from OS, so AVI very much should be favored to go up towards 5 rounds, which is exactly where you want to be at this point. But Smart as Superman with it all to do on this AWP here, so will actually find a little bit of a tag there on Apathy in mid, but actually no, that wasn't a tag on Apathy, that was just a miss shot entirely. Apathy taking some damage elsewhere on the map.
Hell's again defaulting out here pretty passively compared to the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, it looks like they're sort of content to take a lot of the space that OS are giving them. But as I say that, part of Superman finds the one with the AWP and then immediately gets traded out. So this becomes a very weird situation for AVI as 3v4. And oh, it even gets worse as Catalyst finds Apathy with just not looking anywhere. So all of a sudden, a very favored round for AVI turns into a 4v2, and they're really going to have to rely on the strength of these entries coming into B site here, as it is going to be Red and Traditions tethered up together. Flash out into jail. Wisp with a lot to do here. It does have a teammate tethered with him. Will find the one, but all of a sudden in a 1v2 post plant, Traditions, what can you give us? Nade will tickle. Will try to tap the bomb to see if he can find a peek, and does catch out one player Temple. So Traditions knows exactly where both of these players are. Will find a blinder of a shot on a Scott.
He knows
Down
where
to
the
1v1.
second is.
Yeah, exactly.
Great play from Traditions, making something out of nothing right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're Landon, you check this position. Doesn't matter at the end of the day, as the HP difference will determine the outcome of the round. So OS stealing away a fourth round in a situation that very much should have favored AVI, as those mid duels do not favor them, and then Apathy just gets caught out on a weird timing there in E-box. But well played from OS, certainly.
I was going to say, awkward enough dropping that rifle and letting the CTs recover the AWP and the rifle, but then losing that player in the E-box, turning into 2v4.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Rough round for AVI there.
Yeah, and that was really a situation where they had the opportunity to take control of the half, because at that point you're probably scheduled to go up 5-3, but...
Yep. Now, Eco's pretty much reset on AVI, but they do force into it.
Yeah, and I think that's the right decision here, because I think that the read of the money is that it's pretty low for OS, and that would be the correct call as Wisp only on a FAMAS, as it is going to be another up-tempo A play here. As Scott immediately goes down, and Red finds the second entry onto the other A player, and all of a sudden, OS have nothing to say in this round. Traditions catches out the E-box player too on the lurk. Wow, all of a sudden, AVI just decided that they were going to win after that pretty terrible Eco loss. They just said, fuck it, we're going to run it down. And clearly, there has been a consistent weakness on this A side, because it has felt like every single time AVI have gotten something in these gun rounds, it has been through means of the A site.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the Eco in this game is just swinging back and forth like crazy.
Yeah,
You know?
and it is particularly a problem as well that AVI are winning these A takes, because these aren't even splits. Like, AVI aren't even needing the mid control in order to make these rounds work.
Yeah, no, they're just getting two off the rip when they entry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say some, maybe not necessarily bomb site entry work, but some quality trading work from Red coming into these sites. Like, every single round it's been Red has been good for at least 2.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
really has been
133 ADR, 11 and 4. And he's just
off to a great
dominating.
start, for sure.
Let's see, CT Shogun's forcing back into it. 3 MP9s off and M4.
And this is really going to be the round that decides the half here, because money's going to be reset for OS if AVI win and they can start to run away with things. But Smartest Superman has been good forward and mid earlier. Will get flashed off the angle. It won't happen this time. Lapuki finds the opening kill. Creates a lot of space for AVI in mid, and AVI can just sort of sit on their laurels a little bit, but as I say, they Red taking some tags from Catalyst, but that will open the door for them to progress towards E-box, but Apathy finds the kill on the E-box player. This is actually an open B site here, but as I say that, Wisp finds 2 kills with the MP9 in mid, but if you're AVI, you have the read that this is a completely open B site as the last players in mid, so you're not really too worried about this round, and it will be. Tarquin's putting the bomb plant down. Wisp very likely to just try to save this op here. Yep, goes into A.
This does put the CTs in a little bit of an awkward position. They should be on a save round next, so they'll have to find a way to keep that op coming over to the next round if they can't secure it.
Yep, and unlike prior rounds too, it's not going to be even minor weaponry surrounding that op. It is likely just going to be the pure USPs. Maybe some 5-7. Actually, no op at all, as I say that, as Apathy will find the trade to take Wisp down, and that's going to mean basically a full econ reset for the Shogun here. So AVI, once again, in a good position to try to take control of this half, but as we've seen before, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't count out Shogun's eco rounds, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
They absolutely dominated on a round they had no business dominating on earlier in this half. Being said, we will see a very light buy coming in, only one upgraded pistol. Scratch that, no upgraded pistols on the CTF.
There's one P250, but not going to matter. Classic pug strat, going to go for the mid-rush. We'll find one, but AVI not really in too much trouble. As I say that, they've given over 2 guns. And surely AVI has the read that all of OS's players are positioned around B main, but Tarquins wants to stick around and is even looking for fights here. Which I guess you have to, because it looks like Shogun have bomb control, but as I say that, 2 players go down, and Scott left in a 1v3 in a pretty disfavorable situation. Tradition's just ready to post up on that smoke with the op, and won't find that kill off the smoke fade. As Scott, swings the smoke, goes down, so a little bit of consternation there in that eco as they do lose bomb control and give up maybe the initial advantage, but the weapon difference ultimately makes the round fairly easy for AVI, so good recovery there.
Yeah, absolutely, and a little bit of a questionable play coming in from Tarquins trying to take those fights in B main, but I guess Alice just really to give the CTs those rifles to let them reset their economy.
Yeah, and I think maybe Tarquins thought he had a timing coming through B-main as well that maybe Shogun weren't watching for, and I think to an extent he did get lucky insofar as the one player Ruins was the one that had the USP, but ultimately what mattered is that Tarquins got his. So this is just going to be another A-lean here from AVI, going back to the well on the gun rounds here. Very intent to abuse this as great layering of utility comes in, but Landon and Scott both on the same angle. We'll find the initial player actually get a second here as Scott finds 2, but trades very much go the way of OS here, and it is pared down to a 1v3 where Traditions is not really going to have a lot to say as the op will be posted on this angle. Smartest Superman does miss the shot though, but on the second peak, Traditions will go down, so important round there to win if you're the Shogun, as that will secure 5 rounds on your CT side, which is very much where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely, but Shogun coming in and making a couple of adjustments and holding down the A site there. They just weren't ready to let Alice take that for free again.
Yeah. And another important round here is the difference between a 6-6 and a 7-5 is pretty massive, especially on Anubis, so Owls will be content to get as many rounds as they want to, or as they can, rather. It is going to be that exact same mid-A lean here from the Owls. One lost round on that play isn't necessarily enough to discourage them from not going forward at all. Is a lot of A main space gained here from Apathy. Landon going to back up towards the half wall. Not necessarily fearing this, as he does have one player in position to help out in mid. Scott catches the player in house. Is he going to re-peek? Will. Jiggling the angle a little bit. Countersmoke comes down in mid to delay the tease a little bit, which is a great help for the A player.
Pookie looking for a fight in E-Box here.
And as I say that, Scott gets a kill in mid, but Quattro will open up in an E-Box, and this round is a little bit weird because Quattro is in a 1v1 duel on B, while it's 2v1 into A with a solo side anchor. AVI just need to step on the gas somewhere here, as Bomb will go down, but Landon does take down Apathy, and this is a really weird situation because it's a 3v3 post plant, but only one player for the tease is on site here. Lapuki very much on a weird lurk timing, but will find at least one here. Yeah, Wisp's going to go down, but site's going to be opened up completely. Both Tarquins and Apathy going to go through cameras here as it's paired down to the 1v1. Smartest Superman with the op here. Taps the bomb once, tries to bait the peak, but not the peak that he was expecting, as Tarquins ultimately goes all the way around towards heaven, and that's going to be 7 rounds for the Owls.
Yeah, a little bit shaky from the Owls, but they do get there in the end. They end the round or end the half 7-5.
Yep, and look, that's not necessarily the best T-half you could ask for, but it's certainly not catastrophic. Ultimately, you are ending up with a surplus of rounds, which, well, you know, not the exact surplus that the Owls would have wanted, is very much still a manageable scoreline, and it's hilarious that I have to say this on a map that is so unbelievably T-sided that you end a half 2 rounds up, and that's still not considered enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the reverse overpass nowadays. Take it out of the queue, and now we got reverse reverse overpass Anubis.
Oh yeah. What of a very long line of decided maps in this game. As OS gonna just go for a fast med take here, running 5 up as Owls seem content to just play the post plan here. We'll let them into cams. 3 players very, very quickly in rotation to main here as Red will find the initial duel. Immediately gets traded out by Catalyst. As, oh my goodness, a litany of frags found into A main here as all of a sudden we're into a 1v4. Traditions already gushed off the rip and has 4 Glocks running at him. No way for Traditions to win that round, and that's going to be the pistol round for the Shogun.
Absolutely. I think Owls just got a little bit too overzealous there in A main. They wanted to deny that plant, but they just couldn't find the connection.
Yeah, and I think it was a little bit of a weird push timing-wise, right? Because the idea is that you're pushing out A main to maybe get the info canal, but I think at that point, Owls really already knew that they were just running 5 in mid, so I'm not sure why they justified that push themselves, but they're the premier players, I'm not, so maybe they know better than I do. As it will just be another full-on mid-rush here for the Shogun. Traditions and Tarquin's immediately going to go down. How exactly do you deal with the 5 mag tons running at you? The answer is you don't. And they're just going to go cams again. Look at that. No problem, no resistance. This should be a very, very easy round here for the Shogun as we get into the 5v3 post plant, but yeah, Shogun really coming out swinging on this. 2 full-on mid-rushes, just go for it. And they're getting theirs, to their credit.
Absolutely, but I mean, we saw it when the Owls were on CT there. You know, it's still anybody's game. Owls still have every opportunity to make up this difference.
Yep, they will get into the gun round too as we approach the dying stages of this anti-eco. Pookie gets chipped for 1 with that nade and gonna get run down here by the Mag 10. If there was ever a 0% chance round, that would be the one. All right, well, into the gun rounds here. It is going to be basically a full bonus here from OS, as they're going to have 5 Mag 10s in this one. So
Yeah,
even
I'd expect to see another pace round out of them. You know, if it's not mid, I'd expect to see a quick A main or a B main.
yeah, and not a lot of utility to work with here on AVI either, as Apathy will be the only player with a full belt. The rest of AVI have opted to go for the gun advantage here and bring 4 M4s into this round. As, oh my goodness, OS just opting for the mid-rush again. A lot of damage on the 3 different players, but will go down as Red, content to spam the smoke here, will find one of the smoke spam, needs to get out towards sewers, and will. And Scott will finally kill Red in sewers, but Tradition's hot on the heels, ready to trade, and all of a sudden we're in the 2v3. Lapuki in a great position here to retake, just holding in this player that's sitting take. But as I say that, Tradition's not expecting the swing from Landon, and Wisp will actually find another one towards the pillar player too. And we're in a 2v1, Apathy with the FAMAS. Very difficult situation to win, and Landon will find the dink onto Apathy to give OS another round.
Yeah, I mean, that's just devastating for the Owls right there. They lose their first rifle, they give over all the all the M4s to Shogun there, and now they're in a real tough spot.
Yeah, no, they're going to have to take another eco here, and OS, if they win this next round cleanly, are basically going to have good money for the rest of the half. So that is basically as catastrophic as as it could have been for the Owls, but we'll see if they can pull any miracles out in this next round. Again, OS for the 4th time in a row! They're just all 5 of them are running down mid! AVI still haven't adjusted. There's even a team kill, but nobody's adjusting off of this. There's 5 players in mid. Red will find 1 player trying to go through cams. QB3 situation is a lot of damage comes through on the smoke spam, but ultimately doesn't result as any kills. Lapuki goes down, and, you know, even though they went for the mid rush to A last time, you know, switch it up, mid to B. Why not?
Yeah, I mean,
Tradition.
Owls does a little bit of damage there, but at what point does this OS mid push become BM?
Yeah, and where at what point does AVI start to adjust either? Because you've seen the exact same play 4 rounds in a row. The mid player, not even necessarily that you need to bring an additional player, but rather that AVI's mid player maybe should
back off a little bit, play by deep mid there, let your rotates come in a little bit.
Yeah, and absolutely getting punished here for the lack of utility. You know, because if they had maybe bought a little bit more util in that first gun round, they would have not had to have been so scared of that Mac 10 rush.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's sort of the crux of this half, and as it goes from bad to worse, Traditions won't even be able to keep that AK. But it will be another gun round here from AVI. Sort of a do or die round.
They do have the eco for an AWP if they decide to bring it out here, and we will see it coming out.
Yep.
Well, nice. As production commentary, seeing pushing mid 4 rounds in a row. At some point, I feel like as a CT, you would just like stack 5 stacks mid at that point, knowing that they might do that again for a 5th round in a row. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
you got to switch something up, that's for sure. You know, if it's stacking 3 in mid, leaving 1 on the edges.
If it works, don't fix it. Like,
hey man, you're preaching for OS right now.
Yeah, no, they're and the great thing is that OS can just play the conditioning game here too, because it's sort of a will they won't they situation when it comes to whether or not OS will go mid again.
On that note, I'll give a quick commentary. Copy Pasta versus Markman, the other Premier game just ended 13-3 on
Winners being
Copy Pastas.
Copy Pastas. Wow.
Looks like OS does want to group up towards mid here again.
It's another mid lane. You can tell how serious these Premier players are. Yet again, it's the 5th round in a row they've done it, and they're getting all the space. They're getting every little bit of space they want. But as I say that, Apathy does find 2 in the camp's position. Wow, we'll actually find a blinder, but third Apathy all of a sudden rescuing AVI by getting 4. That's an absolutely amazing round. I don't even necessarily know if that was an adjustment thing, maybe by virtue of the fact that they actually got a player in cams, but full credit to Apathy for putting together an absolutely massive round. For
flexing his muscles in cams there.
Oh yeah, I told Apathy to stop flexing his muscles on them, and he said no.
Finally a punishment of the mid push. Finally.
Do you think OS will go for it again? It would seem not. They're gonna go 5B now.
Pushing, but not mid.
This is some like recruit Counter-Strike that we're watching
I was just about to say, if you looked at the 2D replay, you'd say this was a recruit.
This is literally just like it before anybody knows how to call and recruit, and everybody's just like, all right, we're gonna group as a 5 and trade each other out, which is probably what you should be doing. It's not necessarily an indictment of that play pattern, but I mean, what?
They're just taking Alice to task. What else can you say?
Yeah, Trad gets 1 on backside, but just gonna back off as another round goes bye-bye as a result of an OS 5-man rush. And it will be the Shogun up to 10.
I think I'm gonna start copying that mid push for my 3K Premier games. That seems like a good idea.
Well, clearly it's worked out for the Shogun here.
Absolutely. I mean, Alice has only been able to take 1 round.
Yeah, almost a shutout posted by the Shogun in their inaugural 5 rounds. So, or inaugural 6 rather.
We'll see another full buy coming out here from Owls. A little bit healthier on the util this time, so see if that makes a difference.
Maybe, you know, we could expect like an early Molotov or like an early smoke from AVI.
Anything to delay that.
Anything to delay like a 5-man take, because it's, oh, would you believe it? They're stacked up in mid again. Actually, we'll start to spread out a little bit, as I say.
Starting to look like a little bit more of a standard default coming in from Shogun here.
Yeah. Trad gonna deploy a smoke towards the B main, effectively locking off the B main rush. Is Lapuki trying to get a little bit of action into this water position. Will swing out off that flash, but flash isn't amazing as that will blind him. Opts to back off instead. No fight found.
You know, Scott taking a little bit of space in mid here, I believe. Bomb grouping up with him.
Yep. Mid well defended though, as there is a player in Temple and a player in Cams. Tarquins will take a little bit of chip damage from that AK, but has the opportunity to reswing if he desires. Red peeks out onto the players quickly moving water, so if you're AVI, you should be predicting an A take here, and as I'm saying that, player's very much getting in a rotation. Lapuki has to hold this A main smoke. Tumal is coming down Cake as he gets into a great position. Will find one, finds the second player going through A main 2. It's all on these players coming through Cam's 2v3 situation, 2 players to defend. Apathy finds the headshot on the Catalyst, and wow, great job from Apathy again, defending from that Cam's position. Has been consistently impactful and has yet again delivered the Owls a pretty crucial CT round.
I mean, absolutely a great read from Owls there. Peeking out in E-box, seeing that player in canals, and sending the rotates over towards that A site to deny it.
Yep, and hopefully you'll start to stabilize a little bit if you're AVI here, because I mean, let's be honest, right? It's been, I'm not going to necessarily say fluke rounds, but it's not the exact type of rounds that you were expecting. So maybe AVI can get into the game plan a little bit here now that they've warded off the initial pushes. But should I even do I need to bother to cast this game? Like what? What are we doing here? Both side anchors died, and Scott's like another one. Oh, after he's gonna get mauled out, the round is over. Just don't even go for it. Get the one and go. Get the rifles out. You lost to another B rush. What?
And not even a full buy. They had limited eco, limited weapons. I think we saw 2 Mac 10s for the Shogun going into this round.
Yeah, there was a Tech 9 entering through B main, and they still lost. They still don't know how to defend against the rush.
I thought it was done. I thought they were stopped rushing.
Yeah, oh, the Shogun finally, lose a round that was fair play to AVI, like a well put together round, and they're just like, no, we're just gonna rush again. What are we doing?
I'm almost at a loss for words here.
We love to give Premier a lot of credit for being the highest tier of play in Counter-Strike, but or not in Counter-Strike, in CSC.
In CSC, yeah, absolutely.
But there's no complexity to this. There's no
they're just winning
there's
through
no
trades.
layering. There's no good calling. It's literally just rush 5 to a position every single time, and it's working. That's the worst part, is that it's working.
And dare I say, without fail, I think the only 2 rounds Alice took were when Shogun elected for a more defaulty position.
Yeah, as a little bit faster of an alien here, finally well defended by AVI. They're just going to be content to sit in their positions. But as I say that, 2 kills coming in from OS. Traditions needs to get out of this now. Will find an additional kill, swaps to the M4. Looking for another fight, though, as I say that. Finally backs off as Apathy goes crazy too, peeks in a canal as smart as Superman, just completely gets a freebie, and they're just going to decide to go B off that rightfully as a completely undefended site. Landed TM, going to get the bomb down. Rotation's not very fast for AVI at all.
And the T's have time to defend the site.
Absolutely. They're going to get a player into CT. It's planted reverse. Even if Landon goes down here without a kill, it's going to be a pretty good situation for Smart to close the round. But won't even come to that as Landon hits a absolutely amazing shot on a Tarquin's great pre-aim. As Trad... Oh my goodness, Trad.
He should be.
What are you going to do here? Yeah, I mean, now that you see the bomb as a planted default, you probably don't want to go for this, but you're already too committed to this point. But, oh my goodness, and... right as he's trying to get out from B main, gets killed, and what can you even say about this anymore?
I mean, this is OS's map pick, but going into an Inferno that you're 2-2 on, I wouldn't be too happy to give these rounds up.
Yeah, and look, if OS win this next round, it's going to be a 13-9 scoreline, which on the face doesn't look bad, but this is a bad 9-13 to lose.
No, you remember that you said at the half, yeah, winning an ALF 7-5 is not that good of a lead. This is a showcase of how you need to win more rounds in your ALF because, yeah, T-sided map.
Yeah, Owls have clearly not built up a good enough buffer to be able to get through this half, as it's going to be another fast 5-grouped A take. We'll find the initial trades. Okay, trades are going even right now, so into the 3v3. Apathy just going to W key through the camera smoke. Will get punished for it. Only an MP9 and an M4 on the retake here. Nary a kit to speak of.
One HE for Util, nothing to work with.
Yeah, and this should be another should be OS closing this. So have to be some great shots hit from Traditions on this A main push to make it even possible. And not going to happen. Wisp will find Trad. Red, though, does get the kill onto the pillar player. If he can sniff out this player tucked sight, no, not going to happen. And that is going to be the Shogun winning a dominant, dare I say, 13-9 victory on Anubis, their map pick.
I mean, absolutely. You got Shogun with 3 players in the positive. Owl's only with 1, and not a lot of ADR to speak of on the Owls.
And I will say, too, is that OS are winning this off of the back of players who are not necessarily their main win conditions, right? This was a great map for Wisp, pulling up a 19 and 14 score line. And Scott, who for however many seasons now has been OS Premier's top frag, wasn't even needed at all in that half.
I mean, like we've been saying, I think OS just won that off of sending 5 onto a site and trading.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
If you're Owls, you got to be, a little bit worried going into Inferno, where if you hit 5 on a site, rotates can be a little bit slow.
Yeah, and maybe not even so much worried as I would maybe say tilted, because if I got rushed down 8 rounds in a row and lost, I would feel pretty tilted if I was AVI. So,
Absolutely, but not on your map pick, best of 3. AVI's got to reset their mental before going into the second map.
For sure. And Inferno, dare I say it, is another map where OS can get back to the funky business that they've been up to. Is given that Inferno rotations are very, very long, if they do end up finding the initial site entries, it will be a very long map for AVI and not one that they're going to want to sit in for its entire duration. So hopefully they can find some adjustments to get into map 2 with showing a better face of things.
Yeah, I mean, AVI's been showing a lot of early aggression in these this first map. A lot of early peaks on Anubis CT side there. So we'll see if they can make something work on their Inferno.
Yeah,
but I mean, they got to do something to stuff these 5-man rushes.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally like I'm watching a throwback to HG versus AVI in Premiere last season, but this is like I'm watching 5 Zims on Dust 2. Like it's just what can you even say?
I mean, I'd like to say great CS, but this is some stuff I would call for in a bug.
Yeah, it's like I can't even be like, yeah, these are some like great ideas that are being thrown out because it's just the simplest side. I will say though, the one step up is that the layering of utility on these rushes has been notably better than what you would see out of
Oh,
a rush in
absolutely.
a lower level of play. So I can give them credit in that respect. Clearly, this is something that they've
Thought
maybe
out a
not as
little
a
bit.
team yeah, maybe they thought it out a little bit. At least everybody has a good understanding of what the micro protocols were in those rounds. So
Yeah, I
we
mean,
can give OS credit in that respect.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't want to BM AVI, but I just don't think we can give them much credit at all on map 1 there.
No,
They were just
100%.
very, very static. They didn't have anything to really answer to OS's just 5-man mid rush. What else can you say?
Yeah, I mean, I will say the one light in the darkness for AVI throughout the duration of that CT side was I did feel like Apathy was getting a pretty high and consistent level of impact in basically the only 2 rounds of note that AVI played in. So
I mean, absolutely. But then you also saw some questionable plays where, he pushed out a mid window there and just ran into 2 T's and canals.
well, maybe we could chalk that up to frustration. Who knows?
Yeah.
I have a production update. We might
Ooh,
have a bigger break than usual. CS just decided to push an update.
Oh,
ooh, okay. As
And I'm
in,
looking at match
oh,
support, and I have there's 2 other players that are saying that there's an update. So yeah, I think we're going on a break.
yeah, let's go on a little bit of an extended break here, and
all
we'll
right.
return to you hopefully when the technical issues are resolved. We will see you soon. Goodbye.
into my face. Just another day on the shelf. Pull me from my silhouette. Years have been astray. Now a broken shell remains. I cannot embrace what I regret. Round and round, around I go. The spinning makes me ill.
And we're back, and we're on map 2 Inferno. After some technical difficulties, we have managed to proceed on to the next map. Thank you, Valve, for releasing an update in the middle of our series. And as you can see, the update that they've released has introduced some great fixes for this map. For example, this bike being up here. That's exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the map flow a lot better, I gotta say.
Yeah, and the changed banana, which, to be honest, I won't lie, I don't see that much of a difference.
It is slightly wider, I want to say.
Yeah, I think they broadened the right side of it a little bit. Yeah, it looks like half wall is definitely wider than it was.
Let's see if these smoke lineups are adjusted at all.
I think that's what they're practicing, just to be sure. Like, match could take a little while to go live, even though we're all in the server, which is understandable. Change the background in B of the map site, which doesn't it
Looks the same. It looks the same to me.
And this ability change coffin.
Yeah, that's new graffiti on coffin, I want to say.
Oh, 6.
Yeah, they removed like the little pixel gap on the left side.
Yeah, there was a pixel there, like, right here.
Yep.
Yep.
And we won't see it right now. Supposedly there's small like props that were removed from the map. I have no idea which other props were removed, but I was scrolling through the Global Offensive subreddit during the waiting, and if you play Wingman, just don't, because they messed up the spawns. You know how in Wingman normally the spawns for CT is right here, and the spawn for T's is right here?
Absolutely.
You spawn T spawn in the actual T spawn, and CT spawn in the actual CT spawn, on top of each other. So the only way to play is, first of all, kill your teammate, and second of all, go to the other bomb site. So,
Oh yeah, because you can't even get on
Yep.
that.
No, because
They block-
because it's
yeah,
blocked
they
off.
put a door
They
here
block
and
off
a door
library
here.
and arch.
Yep. We love
Gotta
so
love Valve.
awesome.
We love Valve.
All right. But finally, we finally get to go into this map 2's proceedings as we go to the pistol round. OS going to be starting on CT side, Owls on T side. Hopefully, we're going to see a little bit of a better look from Owls after a pretty disastrous map 1. So let's see what they have in store for
It
us.
looks like Shogun's going to come out the door with another 5 rush. No util bot.
No, it's Owls on the T side.
Oh,
So
wow.
much chicken banana.
Very fast B take coming in here. Well defended though from OS. Oh my goodness, it's not even close.
Over
They'll
before it
just get-
started.
They just get completely mopped up on the B take. Oh man, it wasn't even like none of the AVI players even had an interval of time to react. They just all died immediately, and they're buying P90s. That's how much these guys don't care. Is they're buying P. Okay, Whisk will sell it. Please don't rebuy it. Okay, FAMAS comes out. I was gonna.
Again?
No way we're bringing out.
No shot.
So the OS have brought out a Negev and a Mag
Please
7.
sell it.
Or no, they
Thank
sold
you.
Okay. Sanity prevails, finally. Negev and Mag 7 have been sold for presumably better weaponry as we go into this anti-eco round, where we hopefully won't have a lot to talk about. Apathy will enter through that mid-smoke, but immediately gets shut down by the MP9. You can just tell how disjointed AVI feel on this map, because Apathy is solo swinging the top mid-smoke, just like for shits and giggles. Like I get it that it's an anti-eco, but like let's have some self-respect here. Wisp finds Labuki and Apps, and Tarquin's goes down in top mid, and anti-eco with really no drama whatsoever from OS.
I mean, like you said, extremely disjointed from Owls. They're just going for absolute map control, peeking out one by one, and just losing all their fights. We'll see a full buy coming in here from the Owls.
Yep.
Still on bonuses for Shogun over there.
there will be it will be a slightly weird rebuy from OS if they do lose all 5, but shouldn't be too much consternation. Those nades are going to put in a lot of work. Tarquins gets taken down heavy.
Al's grouping up in mid here. Shogun trying to ice him out with a little bit of early util.
Yep. Gonna be stuck behind that top mid smoke right now. Not even a lot of abs control necessarily from Owls, as they do have one player posted up long hauls, but it looks like they will start to aggress off that B smoke. But as I say that, a second banana smoke will go down, so
That's both the smokes off a banana now. If the Owls want to wait this out, they could maybe get timing into B side here.
yep, and they are creeping up a little bit towards bracket here. We'll find that it's clear as they start to inch in towards the A site. Wisp gonna throw a smoke down towards balcony to give himself a little bit of a time to look in a lane and reposition. As Traditions inches up into lane completely, gets a great free. The player that's taking out lane will not find the second kill in the Wisp though, but immediately traded out. There's a litany of trades happen on the A site. A lot of space gained here from AVI, but it's really only taking advantage of it in the arch position. Bomb still not in a good spot to take the site. AVI very much not tethered here, but they will start to get into position as they try to flush out this last A site player, and Lapuki with an excellent shot onto the big pit player to hopefully get AVI their first round. OS are going to give this one a look as they are on what should be a bonus round, but very difficult retake to pull off as Landon goes down in lane side, and if you're smart as Superman, you're probably not going to win this one. 3 players on half or lower HP here, but Red's not going to bungle it at all. We'll find the spray and smart as Superman, and AVI going to find their first round.
Yeah, looking a little bit uncoordinated in the beginning of that, but in the mid round, AVI definitely brought it back, getting some critical openings on the B or A site there. Lapuki just absolutely going wild with that pit pick.
Yep, that was a pretty crucial, because that round could have gotten weird if Catalyst had found a good timing through a big pit. So
yeah,
that's a very much a good point. As OS still yet to figure out their money, very slow to get out of spawn. Not even going to get a player across bracket here as the first nade goes down, which might not even impact the round, as AVI seem content to go up B, and B they will go as Apathy finds the 2 initial kills onto the banana players. Flash will miss, but it doesn't matter. OS very much in slow rotation, but as I say that, AVI are also slow to get on site, so you have to wonder if this is a winnable round for them. Scott going to spam the smoke a little bit as Catalyst will find one from the coffin position. All of a sudden, this is getting really weird for AVI. Catalyst just tends to hold this coffin angle, gets the dink on a Red, neither able to finish their meals, but will re-swing and punished by Lapuki, so into a 2v2 post-plant situation. Even keel. Wisp rotating up from banana. Yeah, for sure, and Wisp has an AK for this too. No kits, keep in mind, at least not that we can see. But that shouldn't matter, as Shogun gonna very quickly encroach on the B site here. It's all gonna come down to these one-on-one duels, as Red with a great timing onto Wisp, but Scott in the 1v1 all of a sudden against Red. Molly's gonna flush out this position. And Red sitting behind that pillar has to play the time. No way for him to win this fight easy, as we'll get over to New Box, but does Scott have the time? No, he won't. Wow, well played there from Red to have the peace of mind to just be able to sit behind that pillar and try to play time as much as possible. It is very much yeah, many players would have just decided to take the fight feeling the pressure from that Molly, so very, very well played from Red there, and that's going to net AVI their second T-side round.
Yeah, you know, a little bit sloppy, but that does kind of hurt the CT Eco there. They forced into that one, so they're probably going to have to force into this one as well on a light buy, or not a light buy, but a little bit of a straggly buy.
Interesting. Yep, 1 MP9, although mostly full belts here for OS.
A little bit of chip damage from HEs on both sides.
Yep, and it's going to be the same looking default mostly from AVI here. They will get the top banana control. And comes in through the apartments, but is not going to find Wiz. As Scott somehow finds Traditions on a very deep angle looking at the apps. That's going to suck. As
yeah.
A space very much taken away. This should free up an additional player to go B here, as Smart as Superman very much feeling the pressure from top banana. Just content to spam the smoke though, as AVI are going to back off a little bit, but Wisp finds a great kill into Apathy. Can't control the spray onto the balcony player, so Wisp's going to find that one for free. Won't even take that AK though, is A site very well defended, so Owl's likely going to have to nut this round off of a B take. As Smart as Superman though does get taken down. It's all going to come down on whether or not the second site anchor can make things happen. As Landon gonna go back towards the coffin position. AVI will need to flush him out, but as I say that, Lapuki actually finds a lurk and kill onto the A player, but AVI very much not tethered with this, as Landon will kill Tarquins. Landon pulling the smoke. AVI, weird situation now. They're gonna have to find it onto A site. I think they will have the time for this just barely, but 2v3
CT
situation.
should be meeting them on site, but no, they're all going to go through banana here.
Yeah, their OS very slow to react onto this, so AVI are gonna get the bomb plant down. And they should have enough time to get in a fairly decent post-plant position. So I say that Scott creeps up Bracken and actually will find Lapuki. So all of a sudden, Red finds himself in a 1v3. Very difficult to win here, but does have the advantage in that OS do not know where Red is positioned. Double Molly towards Big Pit will alert him that there are at least two players lane. Will find the initial kill on the Scott. Player sticking the bomb, though. It's not planted for him. Finds the first kill. Can he find the second? No, it's behind the bomb. He's not going to be able to get there in time. Unfortunate plant position. Ultimately loses the round there. Red very much had an opportunity to get back into that one off the second kill, but OS going to be happy to close that one as it got a little bit weird.
Alzico is looking a little bit worse for wear here, too. Looks like they will be forcing out here. Not the decision I was expecting.
Yeah, I'm not really sure I see the idea, but well, they are on single loss, so that could be a
loss. They
motivator for it.
They got that bomb plant though. They should have had enough for a goodbye next round.
Well, either way, it will be the Owls going for the force buy here. Is Red entering up banana with the AK. Smart as Superman immediately going to find a dink though, and actually will find a second on the Apathy. Is once again AVI not tethered at all. They will find the trade on with the Sandbags player. But Catalyst, in quick reply, actually can't find anything, so Landon all of a sudden here to defend the site, not on his own as there is a player in rotation, but very sketchy situation, can't find the kill at all actually. Scott will go through the smoke, immediately gets traded out, and we're down to the 2v1. Wisp pulling that smoke, aware that there's one player top first orange, but how did the round end up like this? It felt like B was so well defended.
Yeah, I mean, Superman got those two great picks, but both him and I believe Catalyst were traded out just too quickly. Landon couldn't find a third when they're getting on the site there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rotates came in quick, but they just weren't quick enough.
And Wisp with a very unenviable retake here. Solo with a loss, no kid against two AKs, and yep, is just going to get mopped up by the player sitting top of first orange. So, somehow AVI find a way to win that round off of the very weird buy. So maybe it was just that we know nothing. Maybe they just know ball and we don't.
There's a reason for him and we're not.
Yeah, there is a reason.
We will see a force buy coming out from the CTs here now that they're on a single loss.
And it's an opportunity for AVI to build up a solid lead coming into this T-half.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, they are just going to go quick into B again. Mac 10 finds the initial kill on a Smart as Superman. Landon TM to defend. Meanwhile, oh, actually will find a kill through that smoke spam. That's a tilter if you're Tarquins.
Yep.
They will start to reclear banana, but Apathy's still holding it, and we'll find those last two kills without issue. So, no guns given over to OS on that round, and it will be a full eco here because OS on a double save. So, in fact, Apathy finding those two kills is some big impact. As OS not going to have any AKs to bring into this one.
Yeah, I mean, even next round, it's going to be a rough buy coming in for Shogun, I believe. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of utility on their half.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it looks like OS is going to stack A here, which, based on the conditioning that AVI have been doing, B is maybe not necessarily the move. But as I say that, Owls inching up bracket here, going to flash themselves into Arch. And
Might
they will
be a
get
wrap
that
here.
space. Yeah, I like the wrap a lot, actually, as it gives them a good opportunity to sniff out the stack, but initial 2 kills do come in, but Pistol somehow responding here as we're into the 2v2 and bomb is dropped in the middle of the site.
Good God.
Oh, yeah. Okay, smoke will go down onto the big pit. Oh, Scott. Okay, there's somehow...
AVI does manage to clean it up.
Yeah, that was an interesting end to that round. Probably a little bit more consternation in the 2v2 than they would have liked. But nevertheless, a round 1 for AVI, and OS back into the guns. Full M4s invested on everybody. Will be some utility concessions here, but for the most part, the buy looks good. Only 1 kit to speak of, though, which we'll have to keep in mind, given that this is Inferno.
Good little bit of utility to see these men, though.
Little team damage from Tarquins as well, to boot. And OS have been really content to give up the banana space completely. Like, it has felt that every single round they have been playing for flowers. As Tradition already finds a way into the pool, and yeah, that's gonna lead to Smartest Superman getting traded out immediately. Landon phasing the smoke, but again, AVI not tethered at all, as Landon will find the kill on the planting player, which frees up a lot of time for OS to get into rotation. But these 2 players are completely split here. Traditions is in a 1v3 site take, but actually makes the very, very smart decision to get out of sight completely, as Red has the A site secured. It is going to come down to who wins this fight in the library here. Wisp encroaching on the angle. Ooh, okay, that's a big fight for Wisp to win, as it immediately takes away the massive amount of map space that Red had gained. Traditions in the 1v3. Can he find something back? Looking towards the library, will find a great initial shot on the library player, and that's going to allow him to get the bomb plant down too. OS not in the same spot at all. 1 player library, 1 player coming bracket. Going to come down to this library fight. That library fight may never come, as the peak timing is very, very late here. Ooh, this is a weird timing. Catalyst going to peek out library. Actually, I think will catch. Yeah, will catch Trad. Yeah, as this other player. Scott is re-peeking lane here. Trad's not going to expect this at all. Knife pulled out, and yeah, round over.
Yeah, caught his back going around that corner there. Comms come into Scott, who just sets up for it.
Yeah, I mean, that was in a very unfortunate timing that Traditions caught there, because 1 second earlier, and I mean, maybe even a fortunate timing, because if Catalyst had peeked out library 1 second earlier, Trad would have been dead, but if it was 1 second later, he would have slipped the net, and who knows how that round would have gone. Yeah, for sure. So, Counter-Strike is a game of timings.
Still not looking too bad for the Owls right now. 5 on the T half, looking to make it 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Another full buy going to come out, so. And I don't believe we've seen an op on either team yet, which is interesting for Inferno.
Yep. I think that somebody would have at least pulled out the old op to try to get a big top mid, but once again, AVI into the B rush. Will find the initial kill onto the B player. OS quick in rotation once again.
Finding Landon through the smoke.
Yeah. As they're actually just going to phase it completely. Yeah, 2 players completely through that CT smoke. And this has been a consistent team, too. They have not been scared of this top banana smoke at all, because they know that OS have just been sticking CT for the most part, which is an odd decision on Shogun's part. But that's neither here nor there. As Catalyst going to blow up in the smoke, and we'll find a freebie on a Tarquins as Red gets taken down from CT, too. So all of a sudden, advantage OS. Smoke goes down CT. But AVI have to find some way to stabilize this post-market situation. As, oh, weird spray coming out from Apathy, tagged all the way down to 1 HP, but does get the job done against Catalyst. Makes this run possible for AVI as OS going to boost over the flower box. Wow, Scott finds both Apathy and Lapuki. Great shooting there to net OS their 5th round on the DT side.
Yeah, and that should reset the T economy a little bit. They should be on a light buy here, playing for the last.
Yep, they are at 2,400 loss bonus, which means that they can buy down to 2,000. But this should be a freebie coming the way of OS. Likely to get up to 6 on this anti-eco round. But
And we do see the AWP coming out.
Yep.
Looks like it will be playing in top mid. Or banana, excuse me.
Yeah, no, Smart as Superman actually taking that thing top banana. So a little bit of a different look here coming out from OS. Now that they know the money is likely different on the part of AVI. Somehow AVI have encroached all the way up bracket once again, but it won't really matter. Scott mops up a freebie. Catalyst gonna start to clear bracket. Will not see anything. His pressure definitely not felt on either side of the map here on part of OS.
AVI is still very split up around the map here, leaning towards A, but very isolated.
Yeah, a lot of 2-2 splits coming in from AVI, which is Smart as Superman. Nice shot onto the half wall player. That's going to take all the pressure off banana here. But keep in mind, there's only one A-site defender at current. So if AVI take this early timing, oh no, there's actually two. I lied. There's one playing Van, and they're going to mop up those pistols, no problem. Round like with Poop in a 1v5 with the Tech 9 will get mopped up by Scott, and OS get to 6, no problem.
You know, Eco's still looking pretty stretched over on the T side. You know, they're not going to have much util to go around with. I don't think we'll see a single full belt coming out from them.
Yeah, and clearly not a lot of emphasis on utility in general from AVI, as you'd think that at least one player might be buying a Google to try to net themselves a full belt, but not the case here. Utils for chumps anyways, just click on heads. That's what I've always said. Don't buy util.
Hey, when you're in Prim and you got the mechanics for it, hey, you don't need that util.
Yeah, exactly. They're in a much better position to not be buying utility than we are, so can you really take it away from them? And AVI sticking once again to their tried and true default, and by tried and true, I mean it has worked out with moderate success. 5 rounds on the board, but you'd hope to get at least a 6th here on the T side, as Smart as Superman going to open the account here onto Tradition. So immediate 4v5 coming out. Scott going to tuck tail, play from the lane position. Not a lot of follow-up pressure coming in from AVI at all, though, so not much to worry about. And then it's again going to be this B lean here as Lapuki gets caught out completely, and that's going to net OS a lot of information here. They should know that this is going to be the B take, given that top mid was completely clear, but nobody quickly in rotation yet, as it looks like AVI are trying to assemble a boost over the sandbags here, but as I say that smoke clears entirely, so looks like AVI will probably just be entering into the site. Again, no rotation from OS coming in here, as they're going to go through that smoke, and player into the pool position. Catalyst gets an easy dink out of that player, no problem. And again, Catalyst finds a second one on his Parkwins. AVI not doing a good job of tethering at all, as OS going to get their 7th round, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, they just fed 3 right into Catalyst crosshairs right there.
Yeah, for sure. Not anything far from a layup, that's for certain. As Scott with a pretty mean 107 ADR right now, 3.2 KDR. Great map for Scott. The regular win condition of OS, once again, being the win condition.
Yeah, I mean, 5 rounds not looking terrible on your T side for Inferno there, but if this is your map pick and, you know, you already lost Anubis to Shogun, Owls have to be sweating a little bit here. This pistol round is pretty big for them.
Yeah, maybe we might even be able to see this pistol rounds, because the client Delta ticks are out of order, and we will! Look at that, we're back just in time.
Counter-Strike.
I love Counter-Strike. It's a great game made by a small indie company.
No util coming out from Shogun here.
Trad going to go for the early peek out apps, and is certainly going to have the info that they're going up quick alt mid. Is going to have to defend the site solo, though, as it is the 1-4 stat coming in from AVI, although they are quick in rotation. But actually, OS trying to go for a B split here. Even Trace for the most part, I say that, as Apathy finds 3 with the P2000. Dade's going to get at least 1. Yeah, Big Dade takes out Smart as Superman, down to the 1v4. Okay, pistol rounds, AVI, there you go.
4-1 doesn't always work, but it certainly worked there.
Yeah, and I mean, look, that round is incredible proof that the P2000 is in fact the better pistol.
Absolutely. A4 superior, just like the P2K.
True. Who needs silencers? I don't need a silencer. What do you need silencers for? Tracers? Just shoot them. Duh.
Gun goes boom, not pew.
Yeah, exactly. As happened, you gotta bring out, by the way, a Mag 7 into this round.
Oh my god.
A rare Mag 7 appearance. Once again, you can see.
This is a good spot for it.
True. This is a good spot for it. Posted up on the half wall here. Ready and awaiting these minorly upgraded pistols, traditions. It's a freebie on a Scott, why not? And the Mag 7 does ring out. We'll find the kill on Wisp in Banana. So
Crisp 600 right there.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you're getting your money back, basically. Nobody ever went broke buying the Mag 7. That's what I've always said. And, you know, not really a lot else to say here, as OS have gained 0 map control whatsoever, but they will start to encroach into bracket. Immediately get shut down by Red and Trad. Gonna take care of the pistols, no problem. Pistol round conversion secured for AVI in pretty dominant fashion, mind you, so they might be able to build this into a pretty good CT half.
Yeah, we'll see if they decide to upgrade here, you know. Might be a little bit nervous going into 7-7, but looks like they will be electing to keep these bonus weapons.
Yeah, if they do lose this round, though, it's not necessarily going to be the best buy in the world, as Apathy is not going to have a lot to work with.
Yeah, because Apathy decided to just throw away the Mag 7.
Yeah, well, I mean, troll is an interesting word. I would say playing winning and amazing Counter-Strike is how I would phrase it. Oh my goodness, Lapuki just gets completely punished on
Red
that.
caught out, too.
Smoke fade, and yeah, Red's completely solo on 50. So that smoke spam just completely ends whatever hopes AVI had in this round. Is these last two players actually should probably save here by the looks of it. These were the two players. Yeah, these were the two players that we mentioned earlier that were on the lower buy, so they're going to be hopefully backing off. But as I say that, Apathy actually will just stay top mid, so nothing being investigated here. Gonna take unnecessary peeks into bracket for no reason whatsoever, as Tarquins will also go down by virtue of the proximity to the site. So now AVI on a substantially worse buy than they would have liked to be on, considering the fact that they just lost the M4 and that MP9 for no reason.
Also on a single loss here, another Mag 7 coming out from Apathy. We will see the off traditions.
Look, Apathy is at 141 ADR, so can we even critique him? The answer is no, I guess not. Actually, the answer is yes, we can, but I'm using his KD and high ADR as a shield to shield him from criticism, so. Smart as Superman, going for some initial spams towards the car position, but yet again, a fairly slow T default. Nothing too far of a departure from Inferno Standard Fair. Oh my goodness, that is the worst timing I have seen this series as traditions. Oh no, and it gets worse too as Red gets picked off on the opposite side of bracket. Apathy will yet again find a kill with the Mag 7, but this round is very, very weird. There's only a single site defender left. And actually, OS have decided to pivot back towards B. They should just completely abandon this A site. Well, it actually just won't matter anyways, as Scott hits a blinder onto Lapuki, and that was a round. That was one of the rounds of all time, I would argue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, very dominant look coming out from OS on their T side here. I mean, losing the pistol, losing the conversion, coming back and taking the first 2 rifle rounds.
Yep. And I think it was kind of awesome that OS did things the way that they did, because look, that timing from Trad sucked, right? There's no bones about it. But what I will say is the shot on the Red was pretty beautiful. Scott once again will open the account. It's just having an absolutely insane map, by the way. 20-7 is likely going to be a mopping up of the pistols once again. Lapuki will find a little bit of a econ chip damage on a Len and TM as a consolation, but that will not impact this round in the slightest, as OS will likely try to prevent Lapuki from getting a gun. Wisp gonna take Tarquins down with no problem, and round over.
Yeah, and I got a question if we're going to see another save from AVI here. Their eco's not looking very good. They're going to be stretched extremely thin, but they will be coming out with a buy.
Yep. And this is the do or die round. If AVI do not win this round, they will likely lose this map. And it has been a very similar story. Maybe not in terms of the type of rounds that OS are winning, but in terms of their dominance. So far, OS really have had no issues on their T side after the pistol conversion, winning all 3 gun rounds. Or rather, not all 3 gun rounds, but 3 rounds after the first gun round. As Wisp just holding for a little bit of aggression towards this apartment's position. Again,
Bit
slow
more of a
default
pit.
from OS.
Very passive holds coming in from AVI too.
Yeah. Not a lot of mid-round aggression whatsoever as we do get down to the minute mark. Looks like OS are going to try to test this bracket position a little bit as flashes will goes towards lane side. Red completely flashed off of it. Tradition is just going to have to sit behind this arch as well. It looks like OS are going to take this one up lane side, but Red will find an initial kill. Actually finds 2 with the FAMAS on Lennon and Smart as Superman. Scott with a kill towards the arch position. It's all going to come down to what Lapuki can do, as I say. Gets an excellent headshot on the Scott, and will find the second on the Wisp. He's not looking his way at all, and Lapuki with an absolutely amazing site defense, teaming up with Red to go get a little bit of a full house.
Yeah, and that's actually huge for Alice, saving 4 players to go into the next round too. That's going to help their ego a lot coming into round 9 here, or round 19.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. That's a great economic victory on part of AVI to get that one over the line. So money stabilized. Now the question is, can AVI convert that into some consistent round wins? Is OS not going to have any economic troubles themselves coming into this round? Once again, just sort of a slow, methodical default from OS here. They're going to take that barrels position, but even though Molly is not flushed out Smart as Superman, he actually just goes down from apathy anyways. FAMAS is really putting in work for AVI over these past couple of rounds, as once they found their initial kill, they have opted to dodge out completely, just content to play around from half wall and car. OS creeping up towards bracket, trying to see if they can't turn this into a little bit of an A play here. Traditions with a lot to do. Arch smoke is going to go down, but there might actually be no gap in that. But Trad isn't going to blow it open and see if he can't find anything. And oh my
That's
goodness, 3 kills in the smoke and
4.
gets the smoke spam too. Oh my goodness gracious! What a 4K from
That was
Trad.
insane. That was.
You said he needed to go big, and by God, he went big.
Yeah, that was a bombastic way to net a 9th round from AVI. I mean, that almost looked like a Colette headshot to me, but no, it was just 2 bullets, 2 headshots, then the smoke spam. Wow, what a round from Trad, and that's big here because that's 5 alive for AVI, which means that they have some wiggle room to lose rounds here as well. So even if they don't win this next one, AVI still competitive in this Inferno game off those 2-round wins. And OS going for a little bit of a different look here as they're going back to their old bullshit. Gonna be an apps rush here. Red to defend, who throws actually a great molly to hold this one off completely. There's a smoke behind it.
There.
Yeah. As actually the initial smoke into apps will miss completely. And in fact, that is sort of a block smoke for lane. Yeah, they could try to get up van here, but opt not to do so. Is Lapuki going to catch contact in the apartments? Red here to defend, playing anti-flash. Will dodge the flash completely, gets one, but immediately traded out. Lapuki has to get something, does not. And we're into the 3v4 post plant here. AVI not quick in rotation at all, and you have to wonder if they might save this. They should gonna try to get something lane, won't happen though. AK giving over. Side molly comes down, land and TM ticked very low from the utility.
I mean, AVI is just completely utiled out.
Yeah. Just wow. I want some PC checkers in this game to look at that. I want to see if Landon is rocking any suspicious software on the old desktop computer. Is actually finds a second with the MAC-10 too, so he's gonna manage to recover a better weapon off that.
We're doing that after this game. Don't worry. I've already contacted everyone.
That's good.
Afflict in the chat with the word.exe. I have to agree.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was there was something a little bit suspicious about that. Wow. That nevertheless, OS up to 11 rounds, but AVI still competitive in this, as they will have another full buy. 3 kits, 1 op. Some util left to be desired, but
They were dying
no,
here,
us.
though. They're gonna
Oh,
be
I said they're
sick.
going back to the rushes again. They started losing, and they were like, "Wait, guys, AVI don't know how to defend against the rush. We just need to start rushing." They're gonna go through the top banana smoke. He's not looking at anybody. He's somehow reloading and open in the middle of space in B site. Darkwood's not even gonna find anything either. And oh my god, this is how it ends, isn't it? All right,
It's starting
Tradition's
to look
with a
like a
good shot.
disaster.
Yeah, this is. Tradition's really going to get tagged up through that molly, and yeah, has to unscope to evade it, which will be his downfall completely. This is this is exactly what I didn't want to see. This had the makings of a good game, and then OS just remembered how they had been winning these rounds.
They went back
and,
to the roots.
Yeah, they
A
went
little
back
bit of
to
a
their
second
roots.
win for AVI, and then OS just said, "Wait, we can rush things."
Yeah, they AVI don't know how to defend against the rush, and again, it's pretty good layering of flashes, I will say, because both site players very much caught off in solo position. But you know, that being said, not a good job of communicating from either of them. Either Red will be lucky enough to keep that M4 as he does slip the net, given that no T's are going through Speedway, but. That's a brutal round to lose if you're AVI, because now you're staring the face of match point down, and you're down to MP9s. Nary a flashbang, smoke, kit, nothing.
You're staring into
Red.
the face of a second 39 as the first match also ended 39.
Yeah, and this one is something that had maybe not. We were thinking, oh, this probably won't be as dominant of a win, right? And they're just going to be fast again. And there's a solo B player. It's 1-4. It's 1-4. And the round is already. You can shut the stream off now. The game is over. He kind of gets shut down by Scott and Banana. 2 MP9s and an M4 for the retake. It is very likely GG's for OS as AVI once again fall to the 5-man rush shenanigans of OS. At this point, just a formality for Lapugi to go down as the rest of his comrades have been taken out in short work. And yep, that's going to be the Shogun taking a 13-9 victory over the Owls on map 2 Inferno, AVI's pick, and we'll be moving on to the Premier Finals.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to Shogun.
Yep, congratulations to them. I would say a map well played, certainly.
And I'll take it to confirm that their opponents will be the copy passes as they won the second map too. So they won 13-3, 13-6 versus copy passes for the final.
Oh yeah, look at that. It was a little bit of a stomp from UPS, go figure. It's almost like the main team would have been good in Premier. Never would have thought of that. But we're not here to talk about UPS because I don't like UPS. We're here to talk about OS.
I was just mentioning the other score.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 2 13-9 victories, and I will say, as much as we kind of clown on OS, and maybe not clown, but made light of the fact that OS, did 7 rushes in a row on Anubis T side, won that round, won that map, and then I have to credit them for knowing how to win the game.
Yeah, at least we saw OS making some adjustments there. Like,
yeah, they were like, wait, hold on, AVI don't know how to play Counter-Strike against the rush. We're just gonna do what has been working for us off rip, and needless to say, they managed to close 2 fairly non-competitive maps off that. So credit to OS for consistently being able to pull that off. And look, even if we take out the rushes out of the equation, right? I think it still was a pretty well played map from OS, right? Scott just put together an absolutely monstrous Inferno, going 26-9, over 100 ADR, taken 8 opening duels total.
Yeah. Almost every round. And then on top of that, you had OS cohesively working together, hitting sites as a team, and then AVI just kind of straggling in one by one, whether it be a site hit or a retake.
Yeah, it really did feel like tethering was a consistent issue for AVI throughout that map, not even necessarily on the rushes, but also just on the regular default rounds. Felt like rotations were pretty poorly put together. Players not necessarily on the same page in terms of how they wanted to approach certain fights in certain rounds. But it is going to be OS playing UPS, and how do you feel about that matchup?
I think most people who have paid attention to Premier this season all are going to say that's probably going to favor UPS.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
there's really no, or I don't want to say no question, but with the performances that UPS has been putting out this season, it's very, very likely that they're going to be taking that.
Yeah, I mean, look, UPS has been since day one the best
Dominant.
team in Premier. Like, it's not even, and you look, it's not unexpected, right? They're a team that has built up a playbook outside of CSC, given that they have all played together for an exorbitantly long
Long
amount of
time.
time. I mean, what Claudzino, Kigu, and Cure have been playing CSC since what, season 12? After
I
Kigu
was
got
going to say
traded.
season like 3, but yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, Kigu got traded from Big Slime to UPS season 12, and then they won Challenger that season with Cure and Claudzino. So they've been doing it for a pretty long time, and they've managed to close the skill gap to Premier pretty quickly. But I will say, OS does have they do have a way to win this one. If they just
Yeah.
rush whatever site Kiyu is on, they could just win 2-0. You never know.
Not only that, maybe if we do see a little bit more of a passive default, they might run into a situation like they ran into with AVI, where they can just make their cohesion and their rotates work a little bit better.
Yep. And maybe Scott will just drop a 2.0 rating over 2 maps, as he is wont to do. So that could also be another way that OS win that. But it remains to be seen, as that will be the end of tonight's broadcast. But if you're interested in Premiere, we will be live streaming UPS versus OS next week, Monday, assuming that there isn't a reschedule. So make sure to tune in for that. If you would still like to watch any more CSC action, you can check out our B and C stream. Yep. I don't know if our C stream is still going.
I can confirm that the C stream is still going.
All right, C
Oh.
stream still going,
And
and
B stream
I
too.
think B stream.
Yep,
Yeah, B stream still going. So B stream covering leopards versus drakes and challenger, and then C stream is covering mercenaries versus impostas in elite. So another HG UPS matchup in another tier. If you maybe want to hate watch UPS, knowing that they've gotten to Premier Finals, that's your decision. But at the end of the day, we hope that you have enjoyed your time with us. This has been Rubiat. This has been Mr. Cool. Big shout out to Nico for observing, doing great work. And we will see you guys if you're watching for Premiere next Monday. If not, then probably tomorrow. Peace to you.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye, chat.